India Today, 8th of January 2024, positive sentiment in China toward the Maldives, promoted by China and India quarreled, but worries still exist. The Maldives Islamic Jihad was let loose against India, thanks in large part to Chinese financing and social media influence. On a platform of demanding India's disengagement from the Maldives, Muizzu won the election. Before visiting India, he traveled to China and received praise from its Master Beijing. Following Mohamed Muizzu's victory in the Maldives presidential election, relations between India and the Maldives suffered. It has been referred to as an appropriate reversal of the previous president's India First strategy by Chinese academics such as Shisheng and Wang Haixia. Since 2018, Solih has moved away from former President Yameen's China-favoring strategy and toward a India First diplomatic approach. One of the first nations in South Asia to sign up for China's Belt and Road Initiative was the Maldives under Yameen. Cooperation between China and the Maldives grew, and the nation saw a massive influx of debt-tracking Chinese loans. Under Solih, bilateral agreements that included India's support for the Maldives' marine connectivity, credit lines, economic assistance, and loans totaling more than $1 billion were struck. As a result, China-Maldives cooperation declined while India-Maldives relations significantly strengthened. Since the pandemic began in 2020, India has surpassed China, Europe, and the US as the Maldives' top tourism destination. The Maldives' economy depends 25% on tourism, and China sees this as a chance to improve ties between the two nations. China was cautious about the Solih government's response to the US Indo-Pacific strategy and its India policy. Chinese policy circles were further disturbed in 2020 when the US signed a defense agreement with the Maldives and provided $40 million in support to the country. China observed that public displeasure with India is dominated by several factors, including religious and geopolitical matters, and that its economic and humanitarian support to India has limited appeal. China accused India of bolstering its military presence in the Maldives by constructing a new military port, shipyard, Ministry of Defense building, training base, and police academy under the guise of helping the country's neighbor, anything under Maldivian rule. Former Chinese Minister Muizzu extensively promoted Chinese-funded projects in the Maldives during Yameen's presidency. Following his party's return to power, he pledged to improve ties between China and the Maldives and provided access for further Chinese investment. On an India Out platform, Muizzu won the election. He also went to China before India and called for the immediate removal of Indian troops from the Maldives. Beijing expressed gratitude to him for this, and as a result, he was given the responsibility of continuing Yameen's China policy, which represents a change in the Maldives' approach to China. It is significant to note in this regard that China does not appear to be content with the simple removal of 75 Indian military troops from the island nation. The new Maldivian government may end defense programs funded by India, reduce India's involvement in police and military training, stop India from maintaining coastal radar, and include China in hydrographic studies. Two main worries. Despite the apparent optimism of the Chinese side on the developments in the Maldives, two overarching issues dominated Chinese conversation. First, Chinese strategists contend that while the Muizzu administration may find it simple to demand that India out, it may be more challenging to carry out this strategy in practice or to sever the Maldives' long-standing close ties to India. Due to India's incapacity to manage illicit fishing, combat drug trafficking, supply supplies, and provide medical help and emergency rescue, the Maldives government is severely dependent on India. China is unsure how India's response will be impacted by the Maldives' conflict with India and its increasing alignment with China. They are also uncertain about the possible effects on China-Maldives cooperation initiatives and internal politics in the Maldives. China's cooperation with Nepal under the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, has been adversely affected by India's unwillingness to allow China to use its airspace and the unprofitability of the China-built Gautam Buddha International Airport in Nepal. Some Chinese strategists advise caution rather than over-pursuing influence in a distant destination, citing a lack of trust in handling elections and political party rotations in fragile democracies such as the Maldives. Many believe China has suffered because political parties in the Philippines, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and the Maldives have changed frequently. Before working with nations such as Muizzu's Maldives, they advised China to exercise caution and consider the region's political unrest.